And here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome to Brace Yourself. I am your host, Roseanne Sorrentino.
And I'm the guest.
And you are the guest. And we are waiting. We're going to wait. Some people are joining. Hello, Paul. So nice to see you.
How do you know
you
that
are
they're
our
there?
first guest who joined
Hi,
over
Paul.
there. So right here.
Bridget, darling. Mountain clown.
This is a very, very special person in my life to me. This is my Grace Farrell.
Well, I did take you out of an orphanage.
You did take me out of an orphanage. This is Deborah Jean Templin.
Yeah.
Deborah Jean is an actress.
It's true.
In the true sense of the word actress. Yes, we all want to chase the dream.
I've been chasing it for a long time.
But we'd all love to, hit it big, be famous, get the name, the money, right?
Right.
But
the thing
you
is,
are about
the work,
the
story. And to tell the story of Annie, it was a cartoon after all.
It was.
But I auditioned the same day that you auditioned, my little cannoli.
Did you?
Yes. And I ended up getting the job, and you got the job too. And we got to work together, and your hair went red.
For a year and a half.
Yes, for a year and a half. And the day before I auditioned for Annie, I was passing out flyers on the street for this new clothing company called Strawberries.
Oh, I remember that place.
I don't think it exists anymore.
It doesn't anymore, but yes,
we do.
We're still here. Strawberries
still
isn't.
here. That's right.
So, look, more people.
Hi there.
Chris. Hi, Chris Fifield. Win. Frank Simone. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Roger. So nice to see everybody. Allie Walker, I see you joined again, and Barbara. So thank you for joining me. So we're going to have a fun time on the show today. We're going to talk with Deborah Jean about our time together in Annie, and then her journey since then, and all of the things that she's doing. Later on, we're going to do some shameless plugs, which will be fun. Yes, we will.
You were so good at this.
But
someone should have you as a guest star.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yes.
If anybody wants to interview me.
That's right.
See, look, I love Strawberries. See, I knew it was there.
I knew it.
It's not there anymore.
But there you go.
All right. So first I want to start off, Deborah Jean, by presenting you with
Please.
your very own Brace Yourself t-shirt.
I will treasure it. I have got an Annie t-shirt.
Yes.
A Titanic t-shirt. A Mamma Mia t-shirt, among others. But this, Brace Yourself. Yeah. It's a theme. I love it. 2020. Brace yourself.
All right. So, Annie. Back in the day.
Back in the day. You know, back in the day, but of course we were and always will be, we signed a union contract. So you get these special glasses from our union. Come on. Are we cool or what?
Thank you, Actors Equity.
Because it isn't Broadway unless it's equity. And it says Actors Equity on the side
but
here.
It's also, I think these are the kind of glasses, though, you get at like a wedding when the DJ's handing stuff out, right?
When you're doing what you love and you're being taken care of and you've got your health insurance and your benefits and everything.
Absolutely.
That's a union job, and it's a fabulous thing. I just had to do a shameless plug.
There you go.
For my field of work.
So I love these. This is awesome.
Thank you. That's for you. You gave me a t-shirt. I give you sunglasses.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So we went on tour, and at that time, you could carry a trunk, like a wardrobe trunk, like they used to do in Gypsy when Ethel Merman was touring.
Drag that trunk across the country.
And it had, you know what? You can't show it now, but in my corner of this apartment, I have my trunk, and I use it as, I keep my delicates in it. And I keep my, exercise clothing and t-shirts and jewelry. But I also, for many years, whenever I toured, and I have been on like 5 national tours. Oh, I can count. And I always carry my Shakespeare birthday book. Why? Because every day's a holiday, pumpkins. Every day's a holiday.
This was before phones.
It was before Facebook.
You had to write down people's birthdays.
Yes, and I use script.
Do you have anybody famous in there? Any famous
Albert
birthday?
Einstein. I put Albert Einstein's birthday.
Oh, you didn't know him though. He was born in 1879. So.
I know. Well, I put Steve Schneider's birthday.
Do we know him?
Well, Steve Schneider is a fabulous filmmaker. He's
Oh,
retired
okay.
now. Gordon Crow is a producer.
All right.
Andrew Hope is he worked for the British Museum. These are friends or people that I think are famous to me.
Okay.
Arthur Eugene Johnson, who was on tour for 35 years as a stagehand, and without people that bring the set to the people,
Yes.
you got nothing, baby.
You have nothing.
Oh, so they're famous to me. My friend Catherine Markey is famous to me because she lived here with me. And she's got a singing group called the Chalks. And Chuck Hagler, well, he was my husband. They call a new word for it. You're going to love this word. He was my husband.
Husband.
My
I
husband.
had 2 husbands.
You did?
Yes. It was not wonderful.
Well, but don't you think the word husband kind of
Husband.
like makes it wonderful? It makes it kind of like, it's just a word.
It is. I like the past tense of it all, though.
Past tense
So,
is very good.
would you ever tour again if given the opportunity?
I would in a heartbeat.
Really?
Depending upon the role. I have to say, I love that show, Come From Away. I think everybody who lives in Manhattan, who experienced 2001 and the events of 9/11, it's a very, very happy ensemble show, and it's the story that matters, and it's about people who landed in Newfoundland and how this little town with no people at all of a sudden had 40,000 people, and it was like, you can stay at my place. I still have room in this apartment. It's a very small apartment. It's 500 square feet, but I could, if necessary, sleep 7 people here.
It really is amazing the way she's got it set up that you could definitely sleep more people. I mean, you really made the most of a small space.
But I would, that show, I really was hoping I could have gotten the tour of that. I thought there are some parts, it has to be the right part for me.
Yes.
But I love touring. I love touring with the rodeo, and I love being on the horse, as they say. Because I toured with Titanic for 21 months as the swing. And you know what that means?
I know what the swing is.
Tell them all.
The swing is the understudy for multiple roles in a show. So at any given time, she could have been one of how many?
7.
7?
I understudied 7 people.
Melissa Betancourt. Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Melissa was our Tessie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Melissa, many years ago, you gave Ron and I some salmon in a box, and it had a beautiful design on it. And we're actually using that box right now to elevate the camera.
Yes.
I said, Melissa Betancourt gave me that box.
It's the salmon box.
It's the salmon box that you gave it. Yeah. It was very sweet.
So how many roles could you have,
I had to be ready to go on for any one of 7 people, and I did go on for all 7 people.
Wow.
So that was like being part of the rodeo, but not being guaranteed that you ride the horse. And what happened was I took about 7 years and I wrote a show about the women who survived the Titanic, because I thought that was a good subject, like what happens when you get out of the lifeboat.
Right.
And I've been doing a show called Unsinkable Women, Stories and Songs from the Titanic for the past 20 years under a union contract. So that is really creating your own lifeboat.
I think you need to bring that show to Long Island.
Well, I've been talking to you about it for about 20 years, but it'll happen. You know why? Because I'm still here.
That's right. Well, we have great theaters now out. We have the Bolton Center out on Long Island.
Right.
We have the Patchogue Theater. We have the Smithtown Performing Arts, the Engerman in Northport.
I've auditioned there.
Yes.
I've tried. And, I'll never forget my first trip to Long Island where you told me basically, I knew it because there had been a few horror films done.
Yes.
And and then about the time I first came out to visit you, I was kind of concerned because there was a woman who had been in a box in a backyard.
Oh, geez.
A woman in the box. What got me to Long Island to visit you, I just wanted to make sure you were all safe.
Well, we are.
Good.
We are safe. And I remember when you came out to Long Island and I took you to Stop and Shop.
Yes.
And I had the gun to scan the food. Remember
the
prices?
I'd never seen that.
She was going to everybody in the store. This is amazing. Look at this. This is amazing. And people are walking by like, what's going on over here?
And now I can go to the Duane Reade or Walgreens, and then you just put something, you just scan it, and then you put it in the bag. There's not even a counter person anymore.
No, it's kind of sad.
But you know what? I'm glad we're face to face. I mean, I'm glad that they're watching us, and that's kind of wonderful. But nothing beats face-to-face.
So somebody asked you, what if all 7 actors were out? Be very, very, there would have to be probably a
Well, at
plague
that point,
that would hit
our
me.
stage manager would have been going crazy. But every person in the show was understudied 3 deep. So imagine, if you will, you're in your office, and any day, let's say maybe some people work 9 to 5. At 9 o'clock in the morning, everybody has to be at work exactly the same time. And everybody has to do what they do exactly the same way for the next 8 performances. Well, the stage manager's job is to make sure that everybody is actually there. And that's why you have to sign in. If you do not sign in, you're absent. If you don't sign in 3 times, that's on time, that is grounds to be fired. Why? Because they want everybody there. And for a Broadway show, if you paid, I don't know, $400 to see Hamilton, you want all the Hamilton people there. And so what I'm saying is that each understudy is 3 deep. There are like everybody has, and there was never a time that 7 people were all gone. There was the case of a big blizzard in, there was a big blizzard in Chicago, and a lot of people were supposedly going to be late, and they go, "You're going on for Ida Strauss." Okay, she's here. You're going on for such and such. And then in the end, I didn't go on for anybody. But that's life. It's life. Life is a mysterious song, I'll say. It is.
It is a mysterious song. So now, Annie, you needed the understudy. You were not the understudy.
Right. Annie, I got to go on as Grace Farrell. I had a wonderful understudy. And I think there was only, at that point, 40 years ago, there were like 1 understudy for each person. I think starting with maybe Les Mis, with the British invasion of Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera, and musicals not made by Americans. No, they started to have understudies several deep. But back in the day when we did Annie, you know, somebody in the ensemble was my understudy. And there was also a swing. And there was also someone that took, did you have a wrangler? Do you know what that is?
We did not have a wrangler.
So you were left, those orphans, and
we were
Annie,
just left to our own devices.
You were left to their own devices. Now they have somebody that is hired just to make sure that the children get me to the stage on time.
No wrangler, because I would have been in big trouble in Dallas, Texas, when the electric went out. Was that Dallas? I was at the State Fair. Right. And we lost power and the ride stopped and I was having trouble getting back and everybody was freaking out because I was with.
Well, you wanted to go on the ride.
I wanted to go on the ride. Yeah. Because you're mean. You wouldn't let me go on the ride.
I remember you in Memphis, Tennessee, and the Orpheum Theater in Memphis, Tennessee in 1980 had pretty much just gone from being a vaudeville house. It went from vaudeville house to maybe movie theater. And at the very top of the stairs, it was like children's room. And it said children's room. And they meant like the children of the performers of the vaudeville people. And it wasn't like they were nice people, but it hadn't been like recently painted or done over. We really felt like we were kind of like inhaling the dust of the old vaudevillians. It was kind of fun.
Who's Liz Temple in relation to you?
That's my sister.
That's your sister. I thought so.
Did the
orphans ever play tricks on the adults? I don't really think we did. I think the adults probably played tricks on us more than anything.
What about when you did Annie Goes Short? Was that tricks on the adults?
Oh, when we did the show and
they did the entire show, Liz.
The kids, we all did it. With the mop hair for the Boylan sisters.
And I think somebody put like a wig cap on their head so they'd look like bald, like hard pressed nails. So they did.
So we did a spoof.
They did a spoof,
right?
You've been doing Roseanne Sorrentino has been doing stand up for a long time.
I have. I've just, now I just get up on a stage and do it.
Do you remember what you said to me the first week of rehearsal?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm
afraid now.
She was going da 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 da. Welcome, and we're standing there, and she comes close to me and she said, "How old are you?" And I said, 28. She said, "Are you married?" I said, "No." "Do you have children?" "No." And she said, "Don't you think you better hurry?"
I said that.
That's a trick. And I said to her, because she seemed like a smart little girl and I didn't want to bash her teeth in.
Oh my gosh.
I said, we just signed a contract for a year. do you think that was a smart thing to say? And she forgot it. But it was kind of like stunning. It was like, I don't know if she'd ever met anybody like me.
I had not. I had never met anyone like you. I had never done anything like
somebody
that.
She could be mother's age, but she wasn't a mother. She was an actor. And
right.
And then I learned a lot more about what it was to be a mother because I met Judy.
Yes.
Roseanne's mother.
You all know Judy.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And I met other orphans and their families and understood how much people give up when they go on the road with their children. And we were a traveling town of 50 people. And I think that because we were much taller, there was a certain amount of respect you had for us.
Mm-hmm.
And Harv Presnell was very tall, and he was Daddy Warbucks.
He was.
And he said when he came on stage, there were 3 spotlights on him. For us, maybe 2, but for him, 3. And he sang, and there are certain members in the audience that stood up because Harv Presnell was a star, and he had done movies, and that was a pretty unusual time, you know.
Well, also, the kids were expected to be professionals.
Exactly.
And we were doing 8 shows a week.
And we had one of the best stage managers ever. Tell her. Annie was our stage manager,
Yes.
and Annie, and she had been a stage manager with her assistant, which we called him Moose.
Which is funny because the dog's name in the show was really Moose.
So Annie and Moose were the stage managers, and they had worked with Ethel Merman on tour with Gypsy. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, that's why I'm here, Roseanne.
That's you really.
I can go very deep.
A wealth of knowledge.
Because do you see this cup? It says the Actors Fund. We love actors, and we love theater history, and we love the fact that some of the actors are veteran performers.
Yes.
And it's good to be on tour with a veteran performer and a newbie. But anyway, what was great about Anne and Moose is Moose in the play Gypsy, there's a cow in Gypsy. And and Moose told me that he was the back end of the cow in Gypsy.
Really?
Yes. I mean, so sometimes you're a stage manager, but you can also take over parts in the show. We also had a wonderful person who was a veteran person who was on tour, who's still a very good friend of both of ours, Ron Schwinn. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
I know he's going to tune in. He's probably not like, hi, I'm here, but he's watching. I know he is.
Oh, there's Amy.
There's Amy again.
Joined.
There we go.
And Allison.
There you go. Ron's job was to be assistant stage manager, and he also made sure everybody got to the plane on time. And he knows all the mothers very well because that was part of his job. Mm-hmm. And then he left the show for a little show called 42nd Street, which Ron Schwinn did for 8.5 years. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if it was going to be okay. It all worked out.
Yes.
He was 35 years on Broadway. He was a professional.
Wow.
And everybody was expected, those children were expected to be professional as well.
Yes, there was an understudy for the dog.
Good question, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Good.
And I think only once I had to have the understudy on. Just once. I don't remember why.
What was the understudy for the dog? Rocky.
And Rocky went rogue.
He did?
Yeah, he didn't listen when I called him.
Uh-oh.
I think he lifted his leg on or Rabbit. And there was Rocky too, but Rocky was the understudy for the understudy. It was Rabbit. Thank you. So Judy knows. I don't remember. I was 11.
And you had to rehearse that bit every show.
Yes.
Before the show. And did you always have to run over Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile? Did you have to do those numbers?
I didn't do those numbers. Oh. I didn't do Never Fully Dressed.
Oh, never mind.
No.
Melissa Betancourt did,
yes,
but you did not.
I did not.
But
we'd always rehearse like the big numbers like Hard Knock Life and stuff to get the feel of the theater.
I remember also sometimes we had a wonderful PR person. This was in the days where we had an advance man. Not that he made advances on us. He was an advance man.
Oh, hopefully not me. I was 11.
I know. No.
Highly illegal.
So what he would do, Bruce Lynn would set up
Bruce Lynn.
Parties. Yes, Bruce Lynn. Now we remember
Bruce
Lynn.
Lynn. Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so let's say we would go to Norfolk, Virginia, and they had a boat that would the Spirit of Norfolk. Well, the next thing you know, the Annie Company was going around Norfolk, Virginia at night, the Spirit of Norfolk, and it was a wonderful party. It was like you can tour with the members of the Annie Company and the Spirit of Norfolk. Then there might be, you get a letter on letterhead, the Annie, and there might be a television interview or a radio interview, or I brought along my clown. Because I was doing mime on the street before I got Annie.
I was gonna bring up the Deborah Jean for a kid was fun.
I was fun
to travel with. You're still fun, but like as a kid, the adults would get involved with the adult things and be with the adults, and Deborah Jean was Noodle Knock.
I did mime on the street when I first came to New York. So for 1.5 to 2 years, that's how I earned my living. And I saw they were having auditions for Annie, and I liked Annie, and I thought I could do Annie, and I thought I'd audition, and I ended up getting cast. So when I packed my trunk, I took my clown outfit with me, and depending upon where we were, I think it started in Cincinnati. Some orphanage wanted free tickets. There's no free lunch, no free tickets. And I said, well, I'll go to the orphanage and do my little show. And I did my little show at St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
I went with you on that one.
Yeah, Milwaukee. I went to a children's hospital in St. Petersburg. And the kids were darling, and like up close and personal is really what it's all about. And so Noodle was in my trunk. And sometimes
Is Noodle still in your trunk?
Noodle's not in my trunk anymore. The costumes for Unsinkable Women are in my trunk.
Okay.
And some days I think, well, if things get really rough, I could always just do mime on the street again. But I like working indoors.
I don't blame you. I hope you don't have to do mime on the street.
No.
I hope you don't have to. If you'd like to.
If I'd like to.
Then have at it. But,
right.
That's
it.
So I know you have some pictures over there.
Yes,
you want to share?
I do.
Okay.
Is this question? Remember when my parents took out of school to see the Hartford because it was the closest to home?
Oh,
I'm
Kathy
sure
Kielitz.
still I have the playbill. Hartford was the last place I performed, and I remember it. There was a merry-go-round in Hartford. I just remember that.
Okay.
But this is a picture I brought. And there we are. There we are.
There we are.
There's Roseanne, and Harv's going, and what? There's Roseanne. You're big, you're loud, you're tough. NYC, what is it about you? I still can't get enough. So today, Roseanne and her mother came to New York City.
Yes.
And there was a miracle that took place.
There was a miracle.
In Manhattan.
I put out the good vibes.
And what that miracle is, a parking space.
I got a parking space on the street.
On the street.
On the street. And I was this close this morning to booking a spot in a garage. You could do that, right?
How much would the garage have been?
$30.
That's why we're going to lunch.
So that's why we're going to lunch after this, because I saved $30 today.
That's right.
And I found a spot on the street, and I had to parallel park in the opposite way.
Not what you usually do.
Not what I usually do. You usually don't parallel park to the left. You parallel park to the right.
Well,
and Judy will say I'm a little crooked, but I'm straight as it's going to get right there.
Well, for many years, I lived with my friend down in the village, and he had a car. And I would tell my mother, I said, well, it's alternate side of the street parking. And she said, you mean you have to move your car every other day? And she said, you mean you jiggle them up? I said, yeah, Mama. You jiggle them up.
Yes.
Where's she from?
I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, and so we didn't have to worry about parallel parking. And I have never owned a car in New York City. I grew up on a dairy farm with about 10 miles from town, and my mom and dad came to see Annie when we were in Indianapolis. Other people went like, Indianapolis, where is that? I mean, it's sort of New York, New Jersey, and then California, right.
Everything in between.
I'm from the Midwest, so I got to see a lot of relatives got to see the show. And I remember when Mom and Dad came to see the show, we were in the second act, and my dad said, well, where's Debbie? And my mother had to say, she's the blonde. And he went, Oh, for goodness sake.
He's been watching you the whole time. He wasn't sure.
He wasn't
Oh
sure.
my goodness,
He
that's
wasn't
cute.
sure.
Another interesting. You never owned a car in the city.
No.
You do not own a television.
Oh, I do. It's right there on the floor.
Oh, you do.
But I have to say, lately, I haven't been watching television because it affects my mental health. Sometimes I watch too much news, so I decide to you know what? I think my happiness quotient will go up without the television screen. And if I do watch and you know what? Sometimes, call me crazy, I read a book.
No.
Yes,
Oh my
I do.
goodness.
I do.
Wow. I love to read.
Oh, it's so great.
I don't get to read enough, but I do love to read.
My sister said I'm fun.
You are fun.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're a ton of fun. Are you kidding? We have lots of laughs. The laughs never end.
The laughs never end. When my mama, I was telling her, my mother, her hearing wasn't very good toward the end of her life, but she lived to 98. And whenever I'd call her, I'd go, "Hello, mama," like that. And she had Alzheimer's, they say, but she always knew who I was. So should anything happen to Judy, you can always go, "Hi, Judy." She will always know who you are.
You're unforgettable.
Well, also, I think high pitches are very good.
High pitches do work too. Old people and dogs.
Old people and dogs.
Right?
Right.
Again, with the old people and dogs. I made a reference last night.
Speaking of dogs, though.
Yes.
I have a downstairs neighbor who's an adorable dog by the name of Jake, and his old owner is Alistair William King, who's a composer from Scotland. He's fabulous. And he's got a show coming. I'm going to do a shameless plug for my neighbor.
Okay,
because
go
he's
ahead.
also
all right.
I think he's the president of the co-op. So,
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, you want
if you want my gravy, pepper my ragu. Okay. So here's the thing is, he's got a show called The Little Match Girl. And I did
that, yeah.
Yeah. And he wrote music to it. So he's doing the orchestrations downstairs.
Wow.
And it's opening off Broadway called The Little Match Girl at St. Luke's Theater. And I'm very proud of him. He's done other shows as well. But it's just kind of nice. They say, I've got a neighbor downstairs. And I've got a neighbor upstairs who works for Estee Lauder, and I work, it's 20 people in one building, and the walls aren't really that thick. And then,
but it's still very quiet.
It's nice. Quiet, and
nice.
If I look out the window, I can see what parking spaces are available. But I've been living here for over 40 years, and the thing I'm most happy about is it's got sunlight.
Yes,
and nobody has torn down the building across the street to make some kind of crazy high rise with nobody in it. You know what I'm saying?
Good, yes.
So, and the other thing I'm very into is, besides my Actors Equity glasses, I'm into my Neighborhood Preservation Society, who says, let's not tear it down. Let's keep it a neighborhood where you could say 5 stories.
Yeah.
Why not keep
we
it
look
regular?
We look
chicks.
Yeah.
Rock chicks.
Yeah, that's us. Look at us.
And when we toured in Titanic, we did a takeoff on Switchblade Sisters, because sometimes we were really tough. Just the idea that you had to have a lot of people crowded into a small dressing room. We understood sort of 50s film noir. We did.
What does that even mean?
That means there are some old-fashioned movies in black and white. And it's like these tough girls.
Yeah. The tough.
It's kind of Orphans Gone Bad. It's like Orphans Gone Bad.
Yeah.
With 50 outfits and tight skirts.
So Annie, Titanic, yes. Broadway. So you've also done some TV.
Yes. My favorite TV was, I was hired for some reason as a cougar. And during the audition, a 26-year-old young man kissed on me. And then they had another 26-year-old man. And for some reason, I got the job. It was the best job I've ever had.
I would say so.
And it was, what would you do? And it's like, would they comment on this younger man being with an older woman? And that was a very good job. But
I saw that one too.
And then there was the one on Jimmy Fallon. Did you see that one?
I don't know. You did?
It was like a woman, and it was Broadway week, and it was like you're getting ready to go, and you just, I don't know. I can't do the show. I can't do the show anymore. I can't do the show. And someone knocks at the door, and they have a grande latte for me. And it was funny. You have to see it. But what was so cool about that, Roseanne, is I got to put on my makeup in the same makeup room that the Coneheads were in for Saturday Night Live.
Wow. That
Yes.
is cool.
I was in the Coneheads dressing room.
Wow.
And I've done Gotham. I played a mourner at a funeral in Gotham, and I've done daytime dramas.
Well, now, yes, you have, and you just made me think of something because, well, we did the play together. We toured, right?
Yes.
And then I'm in New York filming the movie.
Yes.
And who comes walking down the street?
Deborah
Jean, dressed as one of the potential parents for Annie, maybe.
That's right.
And
now I owe this all to my neighbor and good friend, Mark Geller. Mark Geller said to me, Deborah Jean, you could do background work on movies. I sometimes do. He doesn't do background work anymore. He's a star. He doesn't need to. But anyway, I said, oh, that's a good idea. And they're doing the movie Annie. So Annie was the first movie I worked on as a background artist. And they go like, how do you know the story? How do you know what's happening? I said, how do I know the story? I know the story. And I did like 5 days work on the movie. 5 is a thing. And I had 5 different husbands, different nationalities. And that's when I learned I am a universal wife type.
You are universal.
Well,
now look, we have a message
one size fits all.
We have a message from Catherine Buffalo.
Hi.
Hello, girls. Catherine Buffalo was Lily St. Regis in the toured with us, and she also starred on Broadway in Phantom of the Opera, playing Christine for a very long time. I actually got to see her. It was amazing.
She's a doll.
Tell them how we shot the national commercial in Cincinnati. And it also played in New York. You tell that story because all I remember is shooting the commercial. I don't remember any details.
It was September 1979, and our company was select. There were Broadway Annie, Chicago Annie. There were 3. There was Broadway and 3 national tours. So 4. There were 4 companies of Annie all throughout the United States. But for some reason, they liked our proportions, like Harv, Deborah Jean, Annie, or whatever. It looked like a good threesome. So it was decided that our company would do the national commercial. And the people that were shooting the commercial, one of them had worked with Erich von Stroheim. I mean, I'm telling you, that these are older German people that, hey, aren't the Oscars coming up? I mean, you ain't got a thing unless you got good cinematography. And we had some of the best. And I knew it was best because our director, the late Martin Charnin, knew his way around the television set and lighting and respected professionals. And he was like, could I, be around while we do the commercial? And he just loved these people. So we shot the commercial. And what was sad about that is the Broadway company wasn't asked to do the commercial. Our company was asked to do the commercial.
I think that's
and
sad,
it ran
right?
for about, like maybe more than 2 years, which meant we got paid like a national commercial.
Yeah.
And as Catherine Buffalo is reminding us, it paid her New York rent. Yes, indeed. It played her New York rent.
Yeah.
And that is doing that commercial means that when you do a few commercials or something like that, it also helps to get a pension. But when I look at the Annie commercial, it is so beautiful compared to like some of the commercials now. It ended with, there was something would come up here. The 4 pictures came together. And then it was like a test that you used to have on TV a long, long time ago when television was new. And you were in the middle, and you would look at this picture,
that one.
And then you were like, wow. And the dog barked. Dog barked.
Yep.
That was a smart dog.
That was a great dog.
Smart dog.
That dog.
So yes. So it was not, I mean, I wish everybody could have been in the commercial. For some reason, they chose our company. Perhaps the shooting in Cincinnati was easier. The logistics were easier. That's where we did it.
I'm just glad it was us.
I'm glad it was us.
And
And I'm glad that I have it on my website. It's very fun to look at from time to time. And how the orphans we got the flu.
Yes.
Do you remember getting the flu in Baltimore?
I remember getting
Talk
the flu.
about it.
That's when they took me off the stage, right, Ma? Yes. So I was on stage. It was the beginning of the show. I sit down on the stage to sing Maybe.
Right. You can do it.
I was croaking. And I didn't know I was sick really until that moment. And I start crying. And I remember there was a lady in the front row, like just looking at me because she saw I was crying, and I thought these people are going to think I'm terrible. And I was so sick, and they carried Annie off in the laundry basket, and they carried my understudy back on.
Good
and I
for you
never
for
went back
remembering
on.
that.
Yes, I remember that. And you didn't know I was even taken off the stage.
No. Well, then all of a sudden there was another girl.
Yeah, because she
And-
was watching it on the camera, the TV on
Catherine
in the outside.
Catherine says, and then we had about half of them on stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we got the chicken pox.
Do you remember when some people got head lice?
I do.
It was special.
That was special. I didn't get it bad though, because they were dyeing my hair, so they were killing most of it.
That's right.
So that was really lucky. And I got a very mild case of the chicken pox. I only missed one show, just one.
And just a word, there are many people we worked with who were extraordinary hairdressers and actors, and some of them aren't with us anymore because of the AIDS crisis. And it was just the beginning of the AIDS crisis. So there's some people I know are tuning in from the wings way up high and happy that we're talking about them, because they were wonderful people and fun to be with, and they're just not with us anymore. They're part of it's kind of like when you go to the library, those people knew where we were. They know where we were because they saw our work. They witnessed our work live. They witnessed you as a child, and those people aren't around. So when you come to my apartment and we talk about those things, I'm very happy.
Yeah. Oh, it makes me happy too. People always say to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, does it bother you we talk about Annie, or if they bring it up?" And I said, "No, doesn't bother me at all. Annie was very kind to me. Annie is still kind to me. Annie is still such a
I have to say
presence.
this, Annie, I don't know if you still do this. Roseanne has her Annie dress in a frame above her piano.
Well, I'm not in that house anymore.
Uh-oh.
And I do still have it, but it's in the basement.
Okay.
Because I don't have a place right now really where I would hang it.
But those costumes were iconic. And I mean, now if you don't do it in drag, then who are you? You know what I mean? Like everybody is doing Annie and they know it. It's an extraordinary song. Tomorrow, last week, I sing with a group called Singing for Your Seniors. And we go to nursing homes. It's a volunteer thing. And the last song that we did was Tomorrow.
Really?
And, when you're sort of like in a box in a nursing home and you can't necessarily get out, it still made them happy. So, and they all knew the words. They all knew the words.
They did.
That's kind of very special.
Everybody, if you've never heard of the song Tomorrow, I think you were raised in a box then.
That's probably true. It's like that girl that's in the no way.
No. Katie Beers, that's who that was. Yes.
It sounds
so. It was so. Oh, we have so many people. It's so amazing to see how many people. Kathleen Kohler. Remember Kathleen Kohler? Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow.
So it's almost time for shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs.
So,
well, you have your Annie costumes, Annie costume in a special place. I couldn't save any of my Annie costumes, but I went on to play Miss Hannigan twice.
Yes.
Yes, I did. And I'm waiting for the day that I play Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I always keep my low voice going. Annie.
Don't ever lose it.
Don't ever lose it.
You want your
No, I don't. Oh, that's okay. It's all right. I did play Miss Hannigan, and I had a special shawl made for me, and I have it in my apartment now. But the thing that I try to do, and I've been going to Weight Watchers for 20 years. No, I have. So I can still fit into the costumes for Unsinkable Women, because I wrote my show. It's about 9 Titanic survivors, and I have like $20,000 worth of costumes from the 1912 era. And the waist is like that. And then my top has to be like this. And I can't afford to have new costumes made. So I'm going to be doing the show. I've done it at 160 venues in the United States and abroad. And on Saturday, May 23rd at 8 o'clock, I'll be doing it at the Hopewell Theater in Hopewell, New Jersey. And I'll put some number, but it's 609-466 1964.
1964.
So that's my shameless plug.
That's great, because
Another
people
shameless
who
plug.
are in New Jersey can go see it. It's a great
It's
show.
and people in New York, it's only 45 minutes from Broadway,
That's
and that
true.
was a show. Come on,
That's true. That's true.
get on the train.
I do have a shameless plug.
Good.
I was just added. Bridget and I were actually just added to a show, Gateway Comedy, on February 8th at the Clarion Hotel in Ronkonkoma. So we are
love
going
it.
to do some comedy there.
Ronkonkoma.
And then, of course, February 13th is at McGuire's for the fundraiser for East Islip Schools. And February 14th at the Color Palette in Lindenhurst, I will be making all the lovers laugh. So
That is so exciting.
yes.
Then you still are working in the daytime.
And I am still working in the daytime.
Now, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What time do you get up in the morning to do your vice principal job?
5
Principal
o'clock.
I get up at 5 o'clock sometimes to get a space so I can get an appointment to do an audition.
Right.
But lately, thanks to Actors Equity, we can actually sign up online. But
Oh,
if you don't
nice.
get enough spaces, then you can get up at 5 o'clock. So last year, I actually did that sort of thing. But you get up at 5 o'clock
Every day.
every day and get to school at what time?
I get to school usually, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have to be there at 6:30 in the morning for meetings.
Okay.
And then usually there by 7:10.
Uh-huh.
And
then
I
when-
work until about 4.
4. You don't have to take care of things like detention.
I assign them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then I come home and I'm doing the comedy and I'm doing Brace Yourself and I'm booking guests and I'm creating shows. So my days are really full.
Now, the other thing I'm doing in my apartment, because, in New York, if you have 500 square feet, you have to make every part of the apartment work for you. I'm shooting a web series,
Oh, yes,
which will be
talk about
done
that.
like in about a year. But my cinematographer is Ron Schwinn, and we film 2 days a week. And I'm learning to use iMovie, and I'm doing it with my downstairs neighbor's dog, Jake, and he's wonderful. And the idea is the show is about the chakras. And I said to myself the other day, I said, "Self, I don't understand the chakras, and it's about yoga and it's about centers of energy in your body." And I saw my neighbor's dog do the downward facing dog. Because he's a dog, okay? And then I could sense that what I needed was a show based on our conversations or whatever they were. And so this wonderful woman, C.S. Hansen, who's a fabulous playwright, and she was at the Writers Guild. We wrote a 7-episode web series, and I'm sort of doing the initial groundwork
Nice.
so that we can do this web series. And when it's done, it'll be advertised on Instagram and it'll be on it'll be Instagram and it'll be put on YouTube. But I'm basically using my living room as a studio. And today I was on Brace Yourself.
Yes, you were. And I will tell everybody about your web series when it comes out, when it's done, on Brace Yourself, God willing.
And a friend of mine who's a producer, he once said, cheap, fast, good. It's the rules of producing. You can't have all things. If you want it fast, it ain't going to be cheap. If you want it good and cheap, it's going to be slow.
Yes.
So I want it to be good and it's got to be cheap. So it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
But when I see
Not like my setup. This is
this is good.
fast and cheap.
That's right. It's good, fast, and cheap. Well, I've always said that of you, Rosanne.
Well, like you're the only one.
No, solid stuff. That's another show.
Oh, it is. And we probably have enough material to do another show, but we're going to end.
I promise you the next time I'll go on location to
Yes,
your house.
come to Long Island. We'll do a location shoot. It'll be great. We'll go to the beach. You love the beach.
You know I love the beach.
I know you love the beach. So, Deborah Jean, thank you.
Roseanne, like butter.
It's been
Like
such a
butter.
pleasure. It's been wonderful. That's the show today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I will be putting Deborah Jean's dates up and things she's plugging, and when she's in something, you're going to know about it.
That's
from
right.
Brace Yourself. So have a great Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow at noon with 5 comedians for the Super Bowl Funnies on location live from Riley Fibbers in East Islip. So we're going to have a good time tomorrow. We're going to drink beer and talk football.
You are an unsinkable woman.
I'm trying.
That's right.
I'm trying. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye. There it is.
Was that fun?
That was